Welcome one and all to a soggy stage in the state of South Carolina. We bring you to a wetted through whereabouts of Malden, where today's fixture is presented by TD Synax, GE Vernova Park. Awash with anticipation as the reigning champs are in town. One Knox on the road, set to come in contact with the Greenville Triumph, and a have-to-have affair in the USL League One. With Ross Davenport, I'm Peyton Geller, and this is your table presented by Acumen IT. As you can see, One Knox coming off the back of that little bit of a slump in their schedule. Got that win against Sarasota. They are in fourth, the final of the home playoff position, but everything's so cluttered up toward the top end of that table. On the other side of that coin, it's Greenville Triumph that are trying to make the late season push, but with how things are in the contentious affairs of the division this year, running out of runway and having to get all 3 points here today.
Yeah, still 13 games to go, though, including tonight, so over a third of the season remain. Dave Dixon's men have shown some life of late, as you said, Peyton. 3 points tonight would be huge.
Of course, they will turn to what has become maybe their marquee man over the last stretch of games, Muba Noor, to try and hold the torch for them. Since coming in for the Greenville Triumph only about a month ago, has been able to contribute on 4 of Greenville's 7 goals scored in the time frame that he's been available.
Listen, injuries to the likes of Leo Castro, DeChane Beckford, and Brigham Lawson really opened up the need for a guy like this with Noor's skill set. And he's earned himself a full contract with 3 goals and assists since being pushed further forward in the formation by Dave Dixon.
Noor making an immense impression already, and a player that will look to do much of the same in his debut. Beckham Uteritz, who was just brought in on a 25-day contract by One Knox, announced yesterday will make the start here today.
Yeah, Jaheim Brown and Scott McLeod went down injured in last weekend's win over Sarasota, so Ian Fuller knew he had to make a change. He will start at left back. He hasn't been in the competitive professional lineup in more than 10 months, though. Fuller said Uteritz has an incredibly high footballing IQ, really good technique, and a chip on his shoulder.
More than that, he has scored both on his debut with Sporting Kansas City 2 and MLS Next Pro last year, and on his debut in the Open Cup. We'll hope that that is a happy habit for him here in this one. One Knoxville, Greenville Triumph in the pivotal phase of the USL League One campaign. Back with lineups and kickoff when we return. You're in the Upstate, folks. Don't go anywhere.
Optimism isn't sunshine and rainbows. It's fixing things, changing the way we fix things. Rolled up sleeves, breaking through. Growing power to meet growing needs. Working to run the world on smarter energy every day. Taking power where the grid's never been. Then getting up and doing it again. Because if optimism never stops, then change can't either. GE Vernova, the energy of change.
My name's Adam Gorlitsky, the founder and executive director of I Got Legs. We help paralyzed athletes get access to exoskeletons that allows them to stand up and walk again. The South Carolina Education Lottery allowed me to get an education and then use it as a springboard in really launching my organization. It all kind of connects back to making life a little bit easier for people.
More accessibility means a better South Carolina, and a better South Carolina means a better you.
It started with a painful play. Then a team that rallied. A surgeon who made it look easy. And a therapist who pushed just the right amount. Orthopedic care from start to finish at Prisma Health. We're not just here to heal, we're here for good.
Optimism isn't sunshine and rainbows. It's fixing things, changing the way we fix things. Rolled up sleeves, breaking through. Growing power to meet growing needs. Working to run the world on smarter energy every day. Taking power where the grid's never been. Then getting up and doing it again. Because if optimism never stops, then change can't either. GE Vernova, the energy of change.
All smiles, prepped and ready for a clash of the billion kinds. Knoxville, Greenville, live and in color in the USL League One. Everybody with massive anticipation for a game that has important stakes in this playoff push. And starting off with the team news, the lineup's coming in fresh from the press, and for Greenville Triumph, this is the group for Dave Dixon. Only one change. This is presented by Crownworks.
Yeah, the big one news is no Brandon Fricky, his first missed start since June. 20-24. Got a little banged up in that midweek game at Madison. Shouldn't be out for too long. In for him comes Evan Lee, and back in from red card suspension is Azad Liadi in place of Devin Boyce.
Liadi, who has scored in both of the last 2 times he took the field at GE Vernova Park. On the other side, one Knoxville and Ian Fuller. Only one major alteration report there. Beckham Uteritz, as mentioned previous, will start at fullback here today.
Yeah, we talked about the injuries at the fullback spot sustained last week in that win over Sarasota. In comes Uteritz, who, as you mentioned, didn't play at all this season till now. It was on trial for a couple of days, so has got a little used to the squad. We'll see how he does at that left back spot, likely going up against William Aki.
Both these teams embracing maybe a bit of an uplift in the Florida Department. One Knox got that win in the late going against Sarasota. That broke up a stretch of 3 consecutive defeats for these sitting titleists, their longest ever stretch in the league under Ian Fuller. In fact, they had never lost consecutive League One regular season ties prior to that. They're hoping that that might carry over as they cross the border into South Carolina. Greenville, having picked up points in 3 of their last 4 matches and starting to feel the desperation at their back. They're playing like it too. It sets the pretense for what should be a promising 90 minutes for both these teams to maybe light some fireworks, and a quick foul is ushered in by Jorge Escobar, center official today.
Keep in mind, Greenville coming off the short week with the game on Wednesday in Madison. Knoxville are going into a short week with a game on Wednesday themselves. That will be at home. They have a bunch of tough road games coming up as well. Madison, Alta, Fort Wayne, Omaha, and their next 4 road matches. So 3 points tonight will be key for them as well if they want to keep that run up for a potential home quarterfinal, maybe even a semi-final. And they do get that. They have 2 games in hand against Boise, who were idle this weekend. So this is one of their games in hand. Enough to get that 5-point cushion between them and the Idahoans.
Another quick whistle. Greenville have been involved in the most physical affairs of any team in the division this year. Their matches have, on average, contained the highest amount of fouls between the 2 teams throughout the course of the season, just around 30 per game. Of course, Greenville leading the league in fouls per game as well, just a shade over 16.
This is your first game watching at GE Vernova Park. The sidelines are very close to the benches, as you saw there. Guys have got to be careful of the contact anywhere near this near sideline, actually any of the sidelines.
To that point, we already introduced Jorge Escobar, worthy of noting. The rest of the crew today, Marcus Moss and Nicholas Lopez will run the lines as the assistants. Hal Johnson is the 4th official. And the big word in the team sheet today for Greenville is the absence of Brandon Fricke, breaking up a streak of starts that was Ironman-like for Greenville to this point. It started every game this year for Greenville, all 19, and it effectively started every match in the league dating back to 2024.
Yeah, him and Evan Lee both chasing to be the first ones to 200 appearances in USL League One. I'm sure Brandon Fricke will be a little annoyed about that tonight. He loses 1 spot behind Evan Lee. They're both right about 190 now. 189, 190.
Look at the all-time minutes leader for Greenville, and maybe playing no better than he has in his entire career than he is right now.
He made some huge tackles in that game on Wednesday night before departing for Evan Lee.
I think that alters things with Zane Bupp in the middle of that back 3 and Evan Lee kind of functioning as the elbow on that right-hand side.
It's going to be tough. You lose your captain, which is the biggest thing. Everything revolves around Brandon Fricke. He runs that back 3. Evan Lee obviously very capable, but now you get a different voice in that defensive line as well as in front of your keeper, Amal Knight, who let in a questionable goal, but then made up for it with some superb saves on Wednesday night to keep that game 1-1.
Shopping challenge put in there by Teddy Baker, but he's gotten to the ball ahead of Connor Evans, and one Knoxville reassert their claim to custody. There is such a forcefulness to how Knoxville play in the midst of their title defense, and as prime a contender as anybody in the league, and you just got the sense, talking to Ian Fuller as you always do, what their ambitions are and how high the standard is for them to achieve them. They are firmly committed to do whatever it takes in every action as they nearly win the ball up high. Chopper Herrera, he's lost it to Teddy Baker. punched away by Zane Bubb. Nervous there for Greenville.
Well, Zane Bubb's been playing well. Basically took that starting center back job away from Evan Lee a month or so ago. Other than that own goal early season, been playing very well since coming off injury. Speaking of injuries, Greenville with 8 players out tonight for whatever reason. DJ Benton might be back soon. Pre-season knee surgery. I'm not sure many people thought he'd be back this early. It'd be a nice little bit of speed at the wing-back spot where Patrick Siegrist and Kimita Fritz have been doing so well. Siegrist dealing with his own bit of health issues over the last couple of weeks. We also got an update from Dave Dixon about some of the Toby Sims, a long-time absentee from the lineup. He had ACL surgery this offseason. He had a bit of a setback playing in an academy game recently, so he's probably still at least perhaps 3 or 4 weeks away.
Leo Castro is still out dealing with what is described as a quad injury that was picked up in his ramp up back in after an initial head injury had kept him out. Suffered in the first ever game played here at GE Vernova Park. Of course, without the likes of Lucas Meek today, Shane Beckford effectively expected to be out for the remainder of the campaign. So Greenville have dealt with it this year. Dealing with that quite well is Amol Knight, the goalkeeper. Coming off a season-high 7 saves in that last outing against Forward Madison.
Dave Dixon did also say Brigham Larson, the loanee from Pittsburgh, who got injured early in his Greenville career after making the move over, the temporary move over. He should be back soon as well. So Dave Dixon getting some reinforcements. As you mentioned, still over a third of the season remaining. But time is running out for Greenville. They want to try and make a late playoff push.
So with the injury news out of the way now, maybe a chance with some of the live fire to already study, to look at the keys to the game as Evan Lee dispatches back to him all night. So Ross, as you see the key points of this match presented by Acumen IT, how do things come down and how's that played out already?
Well, I think with Mubanor being a revelation so far, now in this attacking role, moving up from the wing-back spot, he's kind of filled that hole that Shane Beckford left and given Dave Dixon this front three that is really capable of turning something into nothing in a very quick fashion, just like they did on Wednesday for their goal against Madison. And look for William Accio with that pace on the right side to put some pressure on that new fullback Uderitz this evening. As for Knoxville, they've been pushing their fullbacks a little further up of late, leaving them perhaps a little exposed to some diagonal long balls over the top, and it's a very dangerous tactic with that pace of that Greenville front line. So perhaps expect Ian Fuller's back four to be a little more cautious tonight, heading up that pitch when not necessary. Uderitz obviously getting used to playing as part of this back four. Maybe a little more cautious. And Will Perkins on the other side.
Uderitz joining in the attack. It's Rael Gill now on the 1-2. Rael Gill, it's blocked. Putting his backside in the line of fire was Anthony Patti. And it clanks out for a corner.
Northern Colorado man. Dangerous here in the early proceedings. Maybe a 6th start of the season. 2nd in a row though.
Starting against Sarasota, did Gill. It was only his 2nd start since the start of April. Teddy Baker is over the ball. He leads the league in dead ball chances created. Ushering in without swing. Up to it is Assad Liadi. He goes lurching well wide of frame for a goal kick.
Uderitz there. He has played a little bit of left wing in his career, as you mentioned earlier. Peyton, a couple of goals in his cup and league debuts while in MLS Next Pro. Has to push up into those channels at times, as we saw there.
As you mentioned off the top, prior to this had been without a club after leaving Sporting Kansas City 2 at the end of last year. Both his father and brother are professionals, not actively anymore in the case of Scott, who played for Sporting Kansas City back in the Kansas City Wizards days. Brother had a brief stint last year with FC Naples. Comes off a thud. Connor Evans unable to corral. Chopper Herrera doing his ever-living best to maintain it for Greenville. Takes the bump and wins the whistle. He's been much sharper as of late. for the triumph, and that has yielded much better results in the midfield. Chapo Herrera, this is Camilo Fritz. Got William Accio for company, and now Herrera joins up. Greenville's first real sachet into the final third, and they've got a pretty useful free kick now.
Yeah, clumsy challenge there by Uderit's ball. Had gone backwards towards the halfway line. Just collided with Fritz. See here, just too much in that challenge from Uderit's.
So it's Connor Evans, and it's Greenville who would love to go ahead early. Of course, the target of the ambitions of the taker would typically be Brandon Fricky, who has scored on 3 dead balls this year. Served in, it skips away, it's out for a corner.
As Agliari was in the vicinity, as was Anthony Patti. It was a lovely delivery from Connor Evans. Whipped in with good pace and curve on it. So Patti was the one got the head on it, and then off the head of Jordan Skelton, who's always there or thereabouts on set pieces like that. One of the best centre backs in USL League One throughout the years.
Connor Evans goes it again from a different vantage this time. As you saw a moment ago, Greenville have gotten much better throughout the course of the year, winning that first contact, knocking the ball down. And a shove in the process, and Zane Bupp is the one who is the offender of choice for Jorge Escobar there.
Zane Bupp and Finn McRobb both attacking that ball.
Finn McRobb enjoying what has been all but a breakout season. The Glasgow native, last year with Indy 11, hardly got a look in, only 10 appearances in the league, 13 overall, but he has been all but a mainstay at the back for this one Knoxville team this year. Punching through the gaps. Do go Knoxville, but they don't make it all the way into the final third. That repress baring its teeth once more, though.
Finn McRobb on his own, a good target in set pieces from Knoxville. This is going to be a good battle tonight in the middle of the park. Herrera against Caputo.
Nothing has come freely, that's for certain, as Mubinor cuts away. Gliding wide for Camilo Fritz. Body's in the box! Over the head of Accio, just narrowly. Knoxville striking up the counter. Babacar Diane, who is the author of that heroic moment late on against Sarasota, the winner in stoppage time, has done quite well to sort that out.
William Accio has been getting much more involved in the final third, finding himself around the ball a lot more in dangerous areas of late. Obviously had the assist on the shot that led to the goal by Mubinor on Wednesday. We talked to Dave Dixon about Accio. He had actually scored, came off the both posts. And he's called back for offside, almost scored I should say. He was called back for offside earlier in that Madison game.
Uderit's hustles one into the box. It's stabbed out again by Zane Bupp.
Dave Dixon wants Accio to really have that ability to drive and eat up space. What's something he's very, very good at, and as well as Mubinor, make those defenders make decisions. That's what Accio did to open things up for Mubinor. He really could have passed it to him before taking that shot that JT Harm saved and fell into the path of Norton. He said he wants him and Azad to find a good rhythm. They tend to like to make the same runs. Accio playing more of a wide position, obviously.
Gill in a soft spot again. McCarron's out and comes right back to him. Spots the spare man run of Uderit, who goes early and misshapes the cross. Not sure it was the wrong kind of ball, but was taking a tick too early for the run of Babacar Diane.
Uderit's looking dangerous. That's the second time he's found the ball in space in that left channel. Greenville will have to be very careful.
Greenville have been so much more effective on the offensive end as of late, trying to make games chaotic and speed it up. They've been able to do so in pockets so far. Accio providing an upstream option. Turns by Finn McRobb. McRobb doesn't give it up there. Actually, in fact, that's Jordan Skelton that provided the shadow.
Accio coming over to get involved here from his right side.
There has been much more spark in this attack when Greenville have been able to field Mubanor in chorus with Azad Liati and Akio.
Seagrist sporting a bit of a black eye on his left eye, it looks like.
Knocked down, steered away initially. Azad Liati, a little bit late to it, coming back to Mubanor, who scoops it in. Akio! And at the last instance to make a move, Jordan Skelton will help it out for a corner.
Jordan Skelton with a goal-saving interception there. Initial chance was only half cleared by Knoxville. To deflect it, almost reached Connor Evans. Came back out here to Mubanor. Looked up first time crossing. Akio was waiting to pounce there. Skelton said, no, not this time.
And again, as it often has been, Greenville's only intention there, just to make the ball hit the ground in the box. Nearly comes good. Connor Evans, all queuing up at the back post. And it's overhit on a trajectory towards that area, kept in by Fritz. Champa Herrera, a sole roll before running straight into Babacar Diane. And it's picked from his pocket by Real Gil, who rolls it in behind. The flag is down. It's Conway! Just snatching at it in the end. It's almost like he had too much time.
Yeah, he'd been better off waiting for support. Krashenkov was flying in at the far post. I'm not sure if Conway saw him. Didn't even look up here at all. It was he had goal in his mind. I don't think he ever looked over to see what was going on. Ended up slipping with his plant foot. And All Knight was happy to see that go past his post.
Mubanor meddling as he often does. It's thrust out for a throw. Justin closing out on that moment for Conway, who did score his first professional goal last game. The opener for Knoxville against Sarasota. Definitely started that run in his own half, so it certainly was onside there. That's a moment missed by one Knox and a moment well greeted by Greenville, but it came without repercussions.
Plenty of action in the final thirds here, as we perhaps expected. Home games here at GE Vernova Park have given up a ton of goals, over 3.5 goals a game since opening. Well, actually both venues this season. Seen a bunch of goals.
Hooked away by Conway. Chopper Herrera goes first time. Who wants the ball? Knoxville do. It's nailed forward into green pasture. Kuchenkov. That is a sturdy tackle, to say the least, from Chopper Herrera. Trickling out for what will be a corner.
Yeah, good work from Chapa alongside Brandon Fricky, probably one of the most consistent players for Greenville this season. Missed a bit of time early with injury. Mentioned goals flying in, Peyton. Westchester up 3-0 against Naples, and Independence up 3-0 against Sarasota. So prime time for scores here tonight. See if one of these teams can open it in this first half hour here.
I mean, there have been 11 goals scored over the last 180 minutes in this venue, and nearly another one there.
Sadly, I'm not sure how much you knew about that. He was in the right place, though, to knock that one away. Firm header, no doubt about that. See here who gets on the end of it. There's Conway again.
Second substantive chance in only a matter of moments for Eli Conway. Now at the near post, off of Skelton. Uteritz blocked by Zadliati again.
Fell nicely to the left-footed left back, playing his first game for Knoxville. Getting involved heavily here in the opening proceedings. And so knocked back by Skelton. Yep, hit Liati in the shoulder slash back. Greenville under some pressure here.
They've only conceded one corner kick goal this year. Only Spokane allowed fewer. Over the head of Amal Knight, knocked down. He nearly fumbled it away, but is glad to pounce on top of it. Turn to the CBS Sports Network on Sunday, August 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern for a USL League One clash. Union Omaha look to continue their run at the top as they host the Richmond Kickers. Look to knock the Owls off their perch. Catch all the action on CBS Sports Network Sunday, August 16th. That is a tasty one coming up.
Yeah, Kickers with a couple of wins in their last two. Cosmos and Alta starting to find things under new coach.
It's been bandied out for another corner kick. Again, Teddy Baker has been the best practitioner in the chance creation department from the dead balls, coming into today with 26 created. That was 9 more than anybody else. He's already had a couple here in this one. 20 minutes gone, an outswinger. Zane Bob flies his face straight into it. Abel Caputo and Baker diving in from deep off the boot of Will Perkins over Akiel. Releasing it is Liotti, who takes the license to go up the line. And hurl one ahead, Mubanor waiting on it. Just knocked off course by a covering Will Perkins. There is that instantaneousness to Mubanor's game. Can make something happen so quickly and is almost always looking for the way to get forward as quickly as possible.
Oh, very impressive so far. Mubanor bringing that pace and athleticism that Greenville is so badly missing with those injuries. And Will Perkins right back tonight. He's left back last week, can play both fullback spots.
Siegrist
Lost Valentine on that equalizer last weekend, but then had a big, massive goal line clearance right before the winner. So made up for his mistake last weekend. And have his hands full tonight with Mubanor, no doubt about that.
Career high 80 touches in that game for Will Perkins that you make mention of. Also won 7 of his 8 duels. Maybe a more thorough testing on this occasion today. Here's Perkins again, Zane Bob ushering high into the sky. Liotti chesting it down. Noor is prowling in the high grass. Rael Gill summoning and stepping straight into the outstretched leg and arm of Camilo Fritz.
It's a good foul though by the rookie Fritz. Stopping that counter-attack chance for Rael Gill. He made a lovely little turn. Fritz knew exactly what to do. Fritz would be under pressure from DJ Benton for that starting right wing back spot, you'd have to think. Benton can play both sides.
Been a tense one so far. A lot of meaningful half chances. Goalkeepers on either court have yet to have to muster all too much. Knoxville past as any pretense here today. Haven't been a much keener offensive item in the league this year. They've scored in 12 of the last 13 games in USL League One, multiple goals in 10 of those. Oddly enough, it's the defense that's maybe slipped a little bit this year compared to their championship charge from the year prior.
Still 4th in clean sheets though. They've still done a good job of limiting teams. Little funk they had before that win over Sarasota. Down the table a little bit. Still certainly within great range of getting that home semi-final.
I'll say the defense has faltered. They still are the second best defense for goals conceded in the league this year, having only allowed 21. The problem is they've not kept a clean sheet in the last 6 games. That's why that result against Sarasota after giving up the lead was so important. Ian Fuller saying that the group has just been focused on getting back to basics and meeting their standards as they maybe meet this moment in the final third. Gill slaloming in on the left foot, couldn't make up his mind. In terms of how they've defended their own area, Greenville, without Brandon Fricke, they're acquitting themselves quite well.
Yeah, done a good job of getting bodies between the ball and the goal. 19 total penalty area entries between these two sides so far, but only 1 shot on target.
Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the grassroots to the pros, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com. Latest Select product specials and more. Select, Ross, remind me.
Player's choice.
There it is. Always so helpful with that.
I try.
It's a ball that has belonged in a greater share to the roadside one, Knoxville.
61% possession so far for Knoxville.
Real Gill hoping to make that count. On the 1-2. Gill still with it. Kuchenkov! Fightless in the end, never got his laces fully applied.
Gill continuing to cause all sorts of trouble in the middle of the park, and Greenville have to be worried at the amount of penalty box touches they're allowing so far. All night, just the one save in these first 25 minutes, but he could have had a lot more. That was the second one there.
Jankov comes into this game on top of that. A bit of a trough in form, only one goal in the last 5 appearances. 7 goals on the year for him. They'll need him to start to find form again if Knoxville are to get where they hope to go.
He got off to such a hot start, the rookie, as he played his college ball in the Carolinas with Charlotte.
Was that Davidson before that?
Yeah, and Ian Fuller also played at Clemson himself. Oh, it's a delightful goal. He was just
he was plotting and planning, but all night, as he came off his line, was happy to see the flag pop up. Knoxville have been called for the fewest offsides in the league this year, with only 17, but that's a big one.
He needs to do a better job of just running across the line. Maybe if Greenville really stepped up. Just let him float back there all night. Good job getting off his line quickly.
It's the first time we've seen a big rift form in the back line, a Brandon Fricke-shaped hole.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it.
Greenville would be well served to have a spell on the ball.
You see him all night was imploring his teammates to slow things down. Take a breath here. We're under the cosh here for the last 5 to 10 minutes.
Finn McGraw. Running ahead is Beckham Uteretz. There's Gill again. Seems like Gill has been offered a pretty free role to roam around and figure out where the pockets provide.
He's certainly playing a little more centrally than we perhaps expected. With Dien out to the left here, Kuchenkov ahead of Gill.
That is, without question, clumsy from Zane Bob. Contact occurring off the ball, and Gill paying a price.
That's not a good sign for Ian Fuller. Gill really in some pain here. See Bub come over. The ball never even got to him. Not sure what Zane Bub's complaining about. Maybe saying the fact that Real Gill came across his line of run. But they both have the right to the space, especially when the ball's nowhere near them. Gill appears to be okay, just shaken up.
He did score the last time he saw Greenville in 2024 for Northern Colorado Hailstorm. Real Gill was not able to make it into the squad for the prior meeting with Greenville this year, that coming in Knoxville. A 2-0 result, a match that Ian Fuller said there is really not much to divine. Greenville have changed so much from that point on. A point that they hope proves prescient in their attempt to hold this at 0-0. In by Baker. Not thundered all the way clear by Chapo Herrera, who does his best to erase his own mistake. But it will fall for Babacar Dien. St. Bob goes striking in with a stiff tackle, and it's out for a throw.
In slow motion there, Zane Bob started his slide a little early. It was on the ground, but did just enough to put Gill off. Look at here, good work by Teddy Baker to keep this one alive, and then by Conway back to his feet quickly. Touch was just a little away from goal. Zane Bob, dangerous, dangerous stuff. Could have ended badly, but didn't.
It's almost as if he went so early that Babacar Diane was a little bit surprised to see him on the ground. Mubinur speeding away at Will Perkins, who does not give an inch. Noor reclaims it though. Rolled it in as Akio was making a run away from where the ball was heading. Regained by Pati.
It's a strange run by Akio. He's almost going to the corner of the box. Not sure which way he was going.
Gill, the recipient again. Evan Lee has been coaxed out of the back to meet him. Uteritz has been able to make himself a nuisance down this near touchline.
Yeah, been very impressive so far in this first half hour. Been in and around the ball, especially in that final third. I mentioned Fuller wanting to push those fullbacks a little further up the field, narrowing things further up.
He felt like that might offer them some ripping and tearing in the midfield against Greenville and their defensive structure. We've seen that. Rail Gill has basically been floating between the lines all by himself all game.
Yeah, Dave Dixon said in our chat this week that he really wants the gap between his back line and the midfield to be a little closer. They've done a good job of limiting Knoxville with those entry passes, but they've just had too many opportunities in the penalty box, and you have to worry how much Greenville can keep them at bay here.
A little bit more courtesy there from Patrick. Those seats are new. Ducked away by Pati. This will belong to Mole Knight, who, despite some criticism for how he judged the flight of the ball for that equalizer against Madison, will arrive in the right kind of timing there. I think that criticism was self-directed more than anything else based on our conversation with Dave Dixon ahead of this match.
Yeah, I think obviously what he did in that second half, making those huge saves, more than made up for it. He almost had a chance to win it at the end there too, JT Harms. Keeping that ball out at the near post to keep it 1-1. Was the last play of the game there in Madison.
He's really come along this year, Mole Knight, and become a player that Greenville, for the most part, can really depend on. Throw in on tap. Make plans to join the Triumph on August 29th for Star Wars Night, presented by Doubletree Hilton. Enjoy an epic night of soccer, Star Wars themed fun, and family entertainment at GE Vernova Park. Come dressed as your favorite character. May the Force be with you, as always, as well as with the Triumph. Your tickets at greenvilletriumph.com.
I do hope we get to see the green lightsabers again.
I was just about to ask you what color you'd be choosing.
William Akio with the high foot there. He's lucky to get away with no card. Catching Jordan Skelton. Oh, and he does get the card, a late one.
First booking of the game. Akio's name is taken for those who are interested in the long-term ramifications. Only his third of the year, so no risk of accumulation, but that was a nasty one and could have been worse.
Yeah, it was a little clumsy from Akio. He didn't see Skelton coming. When you lift your foot that high, you put yourself at risk of catching somebody, and that's exactly what happened there. Of course, Mubinur got a yellow card last week for kicking the corner flag.
I think if you asked him, he'd say that was worth it.
I think so.
Still 0-0 here. Not for lack of trying. Both teams have had their knuckles raised for this occasion. Back to Johan Garibay. A pirouette and a push ahead from Teddy Baker, who scoped at Kuchenkov. Kuchenkov! It's kicked away by Amal Knight. Everything slowed down and Amal Knight kept his head. Mubinur has danced into a tackle and won the whistle.
Yeah, that long ball not dealt with particularly well by Evan Lee. Kuchenkov, a rookie, shrugging off the veteran. Really should have done better. I think we said that a few times tonight from Knoxville. Ruined some of these missed chances, perhaps.
Mubenor with every intent to make them pay for the wastefulness, and in turn is wasteful himself. Out for a goal kick. Triumph fans, this one's for you. Before or after the match, swing by Bridgeway Brewing Company, a local sports bar and hangout spot. Catch the action on 15 TVs. Enjoy great food, craft beer, and bowling with your crew. Open 7 days a week. Just the place to keep match day energy going. Proud supporters of the Greenville Triumph. Eat, drink, bowl, stay a while. Udritz. Caputo. They are popping it about. Gill laying it off, and it was Conway who hadn't read the same script, and things opening up for the side in green. Mubenor running at Baker. Connor Evans now, and Chopper Herrera wants to bring the tempo down a little bit. Nor. And it skips away from Segrist. So here's a look back at just precisely how close Denis Kruchenkov came. A faulty one from Evan Lee to open it up.
Yeah, it was a lovely first touch, and then Kruchenkov, not for the first time tonight, lost his balance. Real Gill did something similar earlier when he slipped. It's a newish turf here at G. Ivanova Park. Not different than it was at Paladin Stadium. Takes a little while to get used to. We've heard from several coaches and players.
Balcartian rides the tackle of Chopper Herrera, but leaves his final ball too narrow.
He was looking for that diagonal run from Gill. In behind, didn't get it. Good interception by Fritz in the end.
It's Asadliati, who has Akio on the sidecar and reflected away by Jordan Skelton. Put himself in the precise place to make the impact.
And Jordan Skelton once again. Knoxville caught a little wide open on that counter-attack. Skelton, 4 clearances already tonight. Make that one a 5th.
Asadliati, all 7 of his goal contributions this year have come in home ties in the league, so obvious enough that he knows how to find that quality in the final phase here at home. A testament to the performance in that moment from Jordan Skelton, who will have to come good again. Ahead of this corner, provided by Patrick Segrist.
Some nonsense with Evan Lee and Real Gill at the back post, it looks like. Referee Escobar having a word.
Got it in. Nobody's there. Real Gill struggles to finalize that clearance. Chopper Herrera lifts it high again. Evan Lee rising. Ball's been in the air, suspended in animation for what's going on. 20 seconds now. It finally comes down. Gill. Chopper Herrera, the last line. He has been everywhere tonight.
I was just going to say the same thing, but that's Chopper when he's playing well. No question ever about his engine. Does whatever is necessary to help his team. He'll get forward on occasion. Main job just to plug things up in front of now what is the back 3. Dave Dixon's gone to that over the last couple of months.
A choice that was directly informed by the narrow conditions of the home patch for Greenville here at GE Vernova Park. Allows them to maybe be a little bit more vertical and explosive. Slip wide, Camito Fritz, and the final delivery is off pace.
Fritz is out of position. Real Gill has also been everywhere tonight, up and down this pitch. Fuller imploring his team. Finished this first half strongly. Certainly been the better team overall, but Greenville have had their half chances as well.
Wouldn't necessarily call this any kind of derby match. There is a contentious nature to it, though, and that has come through a little bit. All time, the series is tied at 5 wins apiece with 1 draw shared between in the league. Can shave 1 win off of both teams' tally. with 2 prior matches in the Open Cup. It was interesting to hear that Ian Fuller almost, if I might be so bold to say, seemed like he had taken personally the fact that Knoxville got knocked out of the playoffs the year before he even joined.
It was an interesting statement. It's not sure what you mentioned earlier. Knoxville won the previous meeting this season 2-0 back in late May.
They have run this rivalry, if you are to call it that, over the last couple of meetings. Greenville have failed to score in 3 consecutive games coming into this match. Hadn't scored in 332 minutes. That number has grown to, at this point, 370 some.
Yeah, Seeger's own goal. And a goal by Braudelio Rodriguez, who's now back with Lexington.
Doing quite well. Kuchenkov out of the blocks. Conway was the man in the middle. It's not done away with, now it is.
Yeah, Rodriguez scored the last 2 games for Lexington coming into tonight.
Uteritz. A match that has offered both the ebb and flow. Greenville, 1 Knox. Greenville desperately needing to make up ground in the table. 1 Knox hoping to still themselves after a bit of a stumble. That win against Sarasota has them back where they want to be, but loss here today would spell some alarm.
One interesting stat so far. Greenville with more penalty area entries, 16-14, but only have 1 shot at the moment. And that was off target to Greenville's, to Knoxville's 8, 3 on target for them. Most of those came early from Greenville. They weren't able to do anything with it. And hanging on here, similar to Wednesday night's game.
Fans have been able to take in a good one. Full mouth action on either side, and those fans are happy to be in the ground, which means it's a good time to tell you that soccer season is here in SeatGeek. It's the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek. Your ticket to great seats. That guy does not have to pay for a ticket.
He's the best seat in the house, other than the 4th official. And Greenville's only shot came from Anthony Patti on that header in the 10th minute. It was off target, deflected out for a corner.
Helped along by Deanne. Providing pursuit is Kuchenkov. Baker wins the knockdown. Conway. Perkins. Baker. Clean and calm. In possession, 1 Knoxville. The Tennesseans tearing away. Perkins, and just the 1 final ball astray.
Yeah, it's sort of been the story of the evening so far for the visitors. If they can't find one before the break, they'll certainly feel a little guilty of not doing so. They've had plenty of good chances. They lost balance. That poke just the wrong direction there.
How have you felt about Eli Conway's performance so far? Seems like he's been popping up in the right areas and maybe has lacked the nerve.
Yeah, he's just finding, after that, scoring his first professional goal last weekend, confidence should be high. Again, this pitch does take a little getting used to. It runs a little slower.
Great point.
Than some of the other turf fields in USL League One.
Chapa Herrera, that's smooth. Pass not as slick. Considering Greenville had scored 3 goals in each of the last 2 home games, this has been far less incendiary. Caputo has a think about it. Sorts it out and gets it sifted wide. Uteritz came off Kuchenkov. Looked like St. Bub bit the dust on his own accord there.
Yeah, Greenville doing a good job of bending and not breaking yet. They'll have to get this game to the half at 0-0. They'll take their time here. Problem is they got legs coming off that Wednesday game. As this game goes on, they may have to go to the bench. And we mentioned with the 8 injuries, it's not the deepest of benches. We have some good midfield options though with Robles and Boyce.
Ooh. A thrill show from Muba Noor. Doesn't stick there, but Noor is not to be too daunted as he presses it back. Uderitz poaching it out of the sky. Foul is awarded. It's against Greenville.
Another good foul from Kamina Fritz. Gets away with it again. No card. Stopping the promising attack.
Prepping for the free kick. Don't miss your chance to rep the Greenville Triumph with our latest merchandise. Head to www.shop.greenvilletriumph.com to gear up with the latest official merch, from kits and scarves to hats and more. Whether you're cheering in the stands or watching at home, show everyone who you support. Get your merch today. Wear your green with pride. Very aesthetically pleasing to the palate, this kit clash here today, with the blue retro kit for one Knox and the green classic as always with the color for Greenville.
Do love the band across the chest. We don't see that enough. Sashes have started to make a comeback, but we need more bands across the chest.
Akiel, a touch of flair. Even the manager's gotten in on it. Polo from Ian Fuller. Special Ult Edition. There it is.
Sunset.
You can't tell me that's not premeditated.
Sure it is.
Teddy Baker carving in. It's come cleanly back to Caputo. Gill fumbles it away, nearly gets it back. Now Mubanor. It's been precarious for him. Chapo Herrera just churning through the gears. Not quick enough for you.
Yeah, he had teammates flooding forward and turned it back inside.
Does spot Azad Liati providing a slicing offering here. Akio! A bright idea. Always going to be tough to get it on frame from there, though. Only 1 minute of stoppage time that is dwelling towards its conclusion. Half that will be an exciting preamble for what is to come in the conclusive phase of play, but it does go by scoreless between Greenville and one Knox. The battle of the Villian sides is gridlocked.
Yeah, Knoxville will be frustrated. They haven't managed to find the back of the net. 1.7 XG to 0.07 for Greenville. Greenville hanging on for dear life at the moment. We'll see how much they can go in the second half before hitting the substitute bench after that tiring game in Madison on Wednesday.
Contentious and coming clean cut to the half. Goalless, 0-0 is our score at the intermission. Coming up, the Upstate Spine and Sport halftime report as we pick through the bones of the game that has gone by. Second half on the way, but for now, we bid adieu from South Carolina. More halftime coverage coming up. what they've seen over the fans here in attendance at GE Vernova Park. It is scoreless. It is the Upstate Spine and Sport halftime report with Ross Davenport. I'm Peyton Gallagher, and this is what we are working with in terms of the team of the week. This crop of players coming in now, as you can see a couple familiar faces, namely Amal Knight in goal and Eli Conway getting that first professional goal in the last match against Sarasota has won himself in the team of the week, the best 11.
Yep, 7 saves in that second half for Amal. I could see former Greenville man Hayden Anderson on there as well. Blake Budley had that great winner in that game you and I did between Boise and Madison late last Saturday night.
As you mentioned earlier, Richmond starting to find themselves in this final push. But for now, we set to step aside for a moment, give you a look in on the experience. Chance to get a full casing and documenting of all the passion and color behind the crest around the USL infrastructure in the League One, the championship in the Super League. Take a peek. Kind of stuff that makes your hairs on your arms stand at attention. Good stuff there. More on the experience available on YouTube. For now, our game is still scoreless. We continue our halftime coverage when we return. 0-0 here on the Upstate Spine and Sport halftime report.
Unreal. A jaw-dropping leveler. Stoppage time drop. Wonderful finish in the USL.
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Dorado calls his own number, and City Stadium has turned into a frenzy.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Hay mucha fiesta, señor Martino. Hay sed de revancha, doctor. Pero falta gol, estamos a esperar a un gol. ¿Hugo Sánchez? Sí, tira para adelante. ¿Quién maneja? ¿Un futbolista? ¡Llegamos por fin! ¡Ay, bendito sea el chofer, doctor! Hugo, ¿regreso a las canchas? ¿Algún consejo?
Sí, confía y cree en ti.
¡Ey! ¡Pasa al norte! A donde me dé la oportunidad, pero listo para dar el paso. ¡Listo, vamos!
This is your moment.
Welcome to Wood Creek Dental, where dental care is a family tradition. For over 40 years, we're proud to be a family-owned practice serving the community of Greenville, South Carolina. Our experienced dentists and dedicated staff are committed to your oral health. Experience the difference for yourself. Wood Creek Dental. Dental care from our family to yours.
Thanks, Dan. Good stuff there. Everything heating up in the USL League One. Our game still waiting to warm over, though. 0-0 at the intermission. As for the scores rolling in from around the rest of the division, here's what is coming down the pipeline, as all the action is in the full swing on this Saturday in the USL League One. And what has gotten into Westchester Soccer Club? 3-1. The Golden Apples rolling against FC Naples.
Yeah, we got it going the last few weeks. Charlotte just continuing to do their thing. Caro, goal and assist there for the Jacks. Weibu Maru continues to score, as does Connor McGlynn.
Crazy,
Those
the
two
Golden Boot
battling
race. Yeah.
for the Golden Boot race.
Speaking of Golden, Fort Wayne, a goal to the good at halftime in what is a massive tie at the bottom end of the playoff picture against Chattanooga. It is so tough and tight all up and down the league. That is why the upcoming schedule will be so informative as the matches are rolling in thick and fast. A snap, prepped and ready when we return. Greenville, 1 Knoxville, 3 points imperative for both teams as Greenville try to keep their playoff push alive, and 1 Knox hope to repeat as champions. The road gets much easier with a home playoff game. That's what's on the line when we come back. Upstate Spine and Sport halftime report coming to a close. Kickoff of the second half when we return.
Optimism isn't sunshine and rainbows. It's fixing things, changing the way we fix things. Rolled up sleeves, breaking through, growing power to meet growing needs, working to run the world on smarter energy every day, taking power where the grid's never been, then getting up and doing it again. Because if optimism never stops, then change can't either. GE Vernova, the energy of change.
Soy María, una de las asistentes que habla español aquí en Johnston Orthodontics. Estamos listos para brindarle un servicio excepcional y estar con usted en cada paso de su viaje dental. Llámanos y programa tu cita hoy.
Your family's safety starts with knowing that severe weather is coming. Early and accurately.
Right at rush hour. Straight line damaging winds.
The Fox Carolina First Alert Weather Team prepares you. When and where to expect storms, what to do next.
How important it is to get to your safe space.
Your Greenville Triumph, play here. Palmetto Sports. Watch the Triumph all season long. Spectrum 703, 21.2 with antenna.
Cada noticia importa y mantenerte informado es nuestra prioridad. En Noticias Telemundo Carolina del Sur, trabajamos para ti cada día. Con noticias de nuestros países, información nacional y una cobertura local en la que puedes confiar.
Con el mejor pronóstico del tiempo para que siempre estés informado y seguro.
Noticias Telemundo Carolina del Sur, de lunes a viernes a las 6 y 11 de la noche, siempre contigo.
Highlight, but just couldn't get enough on it. Almost caught it with the underneath of his boot. And there's the story of the first half. Really does tell the story. These stats, Greenville struggling. Not struggling to get into the final third, but really struggling to create quality chances once they did. Knoxville just wasting their 10 shots in that first half.
Those 3 shots on target him all night. Hasn't really had to extend himself to make any of those saves, but that does not cut in to the value of those opportunities for 1 Knox. They'll be telling themselves at halftime, we do that again, we'll finish much better in the second frame.
Yeah, more of the same. Ian Fuller will be telling 21 touches in the opposition's box to 4 for Greenville.
Back out to the live pictures now as both teams are running through the final checklist ahead of a half that matters much in the USL. With Ross Davenport, I am Peyton Gallagher, ready to bring this to you in its full flare. It does not look like Greenville have made any kind of alterations coming out of the dressing room. Of course, they are coming off that midweek match, as you've made mention of, against Madison on Wednesday. Had some issues with travel as well, as it looks like for 1 Knox. At a glance, Mikael Gouling seems to have picked up the match shirt for the roadside.
Yeah, Real Gil hasn't gone the distance in a game in a while. He went an hour last weekend. So Mikael Gouling comes in for him. And Gil ran a lot in that first half. He was all over the place. Game was end to end.
Gouling, who was such an important factor in that championship run a year ago for 1 Knox. We started now one of the last 4 games, but he'll get a full 45 minutes here to make an impression. 2 goals and 2 assists for him on the year. Are you surprised at all that Dave Dixon, having seen his side maybe bend back a little bit throughout the final half hour of that half, didn't make any kind of changes from his bench group of players?
I wouldn't say I'm surprised. He's not one normally for major halftime substitutions, normally about the 55th, 60th minute. Dave Dixon will look to make some changes. See Rodrigo Robles, as you mentioned earlier, and Devin Boyce, 2 very capable players going forward. We mentioned 8 players out injured. Doesn't help the cause off the bench.
comes back to life here in the Palmetto State. 1-Knox, Greenville triumph. Nazad Liati, at least probing initially. Off the back heel from Diane. Goaling. If the field was about 20 yards longer, that would have been a lovely ball.
You mentioned whoever those injuries again. Defensively, Sims, Benton, and Fricky all out. Midfield-wise, Ajakwa, Lucas Meek, he can also play wing back.
That's sweetly hit. Skelton rushing to meet it. Accio gets there first. Boubenor! Pounded in with precision. Go Greenville, 1-0. Accio, Boubenor, pop, and the Greenvillians go ahead.
William Accio once again showing why he was brought in this offseason. Turning on the burners down that right side, shrugging off the challenge with Jordan Skelton, stayed on his feet and found that man who just can't stop scoring. That's the easiest one he'll likely ever get. See a good ball here. Open things up. Skelton was trying to come across, but Accio just too much pace. Skelton thought about committing leaving his feet earlier. Good thing he didn't. He may have given away a penalty, but at this point, he probably should have done. Accio just too much pace here to get to this one. Great job by Accio keeping his feet. Noah getting there just ahead of Will Perkins. Perkins trying to scramble back and just can't stop scoring.
Muba making a name. It is in bold type. It's exactly what Greenville needed, and for Boubenor, he now has played a large part in Greenville, what is looking like a resurgent in the late stage. His 4th goal in league play already. He only washed up about a month ago.
Perfect start for Greenville. Perhaps Dave Dixon saw something and said, hey, we can perhaps catch them napping early here if we look for that good, quick early ball into the channel.
That goal is brought to you by the YMCA of Greenville. Hands overhead in celebration. Of course, Greenville did go up against Forward Madison. This was a point of intrigue when we got to talk to Dave Dixon ahead of this match, with Greenville knowing the necessity of all 3 points in their position in the table. Would they maybe shut up shop a little bit earlier, play this out like a knockout stage match? Will be a question that's going to be answered immediately.
And Knoxville now certainly ruining all those missed first half chances. Yeah, there were more half chances than anything. Kuchenkov, as mentioned, had that best one. We tried to poke it through the legs of Amal Knight. And Greenville again.
Nazad Liati snaking away. It's still there. Greenville hadn't scored in nearly 400 line minutes against 1-Knoxville, dating back all the way throughout the course of last year in the league. They scored 1, and they are looking for another in quick succession. This next 10 minutes could be pivotal, not only in this contest, but in the South Carolinian season. They can get a second here. That would set the souls alight. Looks like Connor Evans carrying into the heart of the area before being jabbed out. Chopper Herrera seemed like he wanted to take a pop at it, and it's been blocked out for another corner.
And William Accio with the head on the end of that one. Popped out to Chopper Herrera, tried to lob it back in over the head of Garibay.
Connor Evans drawing back his bow once more. Needs his arrow to be sharp. Flooded down to Accio. It's a splashy finish. Really the only one available to him, but Garibay is happy to take it in tow.
Yeah, plenty of Greenville bodies open there at the back post. Accio had a similar chance. I mentioned on Wednesday, came off both posts, but he was offside where he flicked it like that.
What just a little bit of bounce, little bit of confidence can do for a team. Greenville are playing with flair and fashion at that.
This was certainly design play. You can see Accio just floating into the soft spot there, and he perhaps should have done a little better. Nobody from Knoxville getting a body on him, just floating around the edge of the 6-yard box there. He almost had time to turn his body and poke it in instead of trying the back heel. You can understand why he tried it though. Crowd box he expected.
Again, Ross, it's Greenville never looking to score with the first header.
No, it's been certainly a theme of theirs, the back post knock back. We got coaches asking for time wasting in the first 6 minutes in the second.
Greenville heading into this game had scored the joint fewest second half goals in the league with Richmond. You think back to the recent antics at GE Vernova Park. That match against Portland where they had to surge from behind to take that late leveler from Azad Liati, barred down. The go-ahead goal from Liati in the second half against Boise to get all 3 points. They've been bolder in these big moments over the last month or so. Nipping at it is Teddy Baker, who does take it up. Turns straight to a Mole Knight.
Only the one loss in their last 4, and that was a 1-0 loss at Charlotte. Before that, had 4 in a space of 6, and a bunch more before that. Starting to get things going, perhaps. Starting to get a little healthy as well.
Because of this man, namely Mubanor. Oh, what a ball! Gary Bay applies himself to a situation that needed doing. Swagger, it's just dripping off Greenville right now.
And confidence, as you mentioned, Peyton, will do a lot for you. Not as confident as anybody in USL League One at the moment, except perhaps Weibo Maru.
Sloping ahead is Conway. It's come right back to him, still alive. A late intervention. Now it's Mubanor. Chapa Herrera. About facing, now Connor Evans. If you're Greenville, do you want to slow the tempo here a little bit as Zane Bubb is struggling?
That's not a good sign. Daniel Wu on the bench if needed. He's worked hard tonight, has Bubb. The first half took a lot out of that whole centre back crew, I'm sure. Have a pause in play to make sure former UCF man is okay. Speaking of former UCF men, Lillian Recall with the move this week, and his replacement Ryan Betcher scoring tonight. Not his replacement, but he's certainly the next man up, we'll see.
Bubba is back up and looks like he'll try and tune up and take this one on the chin, but you brought up Recall. Big move for the USL League One and the USL infrastructure. It continues to grow as a pipeline of importance. We've talked a lot about the off-season movement, the likes of the Nathan Messers of the world moving up to the USL Championship, making the big impact. What, quite frankly, the best team in the league has fashioned off a chassis built around League One players, and a former League One manager as a yellow card will be dispensed for time wasting there to Evan Lee. But now we've had back-to-back seasons when you think about Luis Alvarez and his move last year to Tampa Bay, where there has been an in-season move that has included a transfer fee from a League One team to a USL Championship team. So small little things that show the massive growth of the league.
Yeah, I certainly think it opens some eyes, the fact that a rookie for a team in its inaugural season is getting sold mid-season. Obviously Fort Wayne heavily in the playoff mix, but obviously plenty of eyes on this league and on Lillian Recall.
Skelton, special thank you to our food partners helping fuel the Greenville triumph throughout the season, supporting our players on and off the field. Might be steak and lobster for Greenville if they keep up what they've been doing after this one. Chapa Herrera, Perkins getting away from him. Served up for Deanne, beyond his bounds. Fritz will take it to the end line and help it out for a goal kick.
That's good goal side body work by Evan Lee there, keeping Deanne away from getting on the end of that ball. He's had a pretty quiet night tonight, Deanne, so far. No shots for him. Only a couple of touches inside the box as well, somewhere where he loves to operate. Eli Conway with 8 touches inside the box for Knoxville so far.
That is a lot. Coming off a career high 5 in the last match at that. Knoxville trying to get back in the groove. Teddy Baker, he has been quite all right in the middle of the park today. Immense performance, even if it has been overshadowed by the lack of efficacy in the final third so far for one Knox. Everything has just been so assured with him on the ball as he is here. Cut off by Patrick Segrist.
There's a stat for you. Peyton provided by Optim. Mubanor, the highest scoring player from Somalia now in the USL League One history. 4 goals, overtaking Handwala Bwana. That was a trivia question
All right.
for you.
If you let me think enough, I think I might have gotten there.
And a slip from the Knoxville player. An inopportune time.
Make plans to join the Triumph on August 29th, Star Wars Night, presented by DoubleTree Hilton. Enjoy an epic night of soccer, Star Wars themed fun, and family entertainment at GE Bernoulli Park. Come dressed as your favorite character. May the Force be with you and the Triumph. Get your tickets at greenvilletriumph.com. Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Watch that.
Naples, they were down 3-0 at halftime. It's now 3-2, trying to make a comeback in Westchester.
Blasting away as Teddy Baker, it's blocked. Almost too well. Just died off at the foot of Anthony Patti, unbeknownst to him, but it is cleared in the end. What's your favorite Star Wars movie?
Oh, it's a tough one. I have to say Return of the Jedi, I think.
Acceptable. Finn McRobb.
Chapo Herrera. Snapping at the heels.
When he's at his best, Greenville just go to a different kind of level. Looped away, down to DN, Caputo. Cruising along, Uterets. Off the back heel, doesn't take. Chenkov yet to find the calculus in that doorstep region. Ruben Orr leaking out the pace, a problem again. Ross, before the game we set out the space in behind for one Knox. That was the important key to the game for you. Greenville have been able to apply pressure there.
Yeah, as mentioned, the back three have done a good job of keeping everything in front of them when they can, getting in between shots and keeping the open chances away from him all night. He hasn't had a ton to do tonight so far. It's been a frustrating night for Ian Fuller's men. We have some options on the bench as well. You mentioned going already on. Stavros Arcostas as well if needed, and Nicola Rosamilia, who's up in his account with an assist last week.
Goal contribution for Rosamilia in his last 3 appearances in all competitions. Fortunately for Knoxville, he's only played in 4 of the last 10 games in all competitions. Knoxville taking it upon themselves. Mikel Goling blocked! And it's a fortuitous hop from all night in the Greenville Triumph and out for a corner.
To that point here where both coaches may need to think about substitutions, especially Dave Dixon after that match on Wednesday away from home. I think this is the kind of match you think both Boyce and Robles would thrive in. As much end-to-end stuff and chaos as we've had at times. Ebbs and flows, though.
Knoxville have been big in the second half. 20 second half goals, the second most in the league. They need only the one right now to draw even. All night, let's just say, communicating with the referee.
We've seen him go a little too far in that category at least once in his career. All right, come on. Come on. Back to focus.
Outswinger on tap for Teddy Baker. too untoward. Evan Lee rising to the occasion. We'll have to do it again.
Skelton and McRobb, always the obvious targets on these corner kicks. It's just a throw in here, though. Header away there by Evan Lee under pressure. Knoxville players warming up down that end.
Knoxville do like the ball in the air. They've led the division in terms of aerial duels, and they'll go for one more here. Pumped back by Chapa Herrera. The distance of these clearances for Greenville, just a little unsung game within the game thing, but when they do clear the lines, it's important that they get it as far away as they can. It gives them a chance to recharge. Knoxville prepping a pair of changes. They did make the one at halftime, bringing on Mikael Gulling. They still make two more in 2 more windows when those changes are made. It looks like Donovan Williams is with the 4th official, who's hardly played this year.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't expect Beckham Uterus to go too much further in this game. The fact he hasn't played a ton of competitive football here in the last year, which his last competitive game back in October 2025. That's next pro. Started this game well, faded away a little bit as the first half went on. Perhaps expect in this lack of competitive action, as we said. And here are those substitutes now.
It will be Donovan Williams coming on. As exited on this occasion will be Eli Conway. Let's make room for Osamilia, and Uteret's off for Donovan Williams, who only for the 4th time this year steps into a league affair. He's actually only played 5 more minutes in the league than he has in the Prince Tires USL Cup. 219 to 214.
See if Greenville try to expose him on that left side, unless Perkins is capable of playing both sides. We'll see. So Perkins will stay at right back.
The question really becomes at this stage, when does Greenville make their first change? Past the hour mark. Baker. Osamilia able to roll in the return ball.
He can't take off Mubanor at this point. I would perhaps a Boys for Accio change at some point will be in the mind of Dave Dixon.
Trico Robles would be the first port of call, you would have to imagine, in that regard. Skelton. And Fuller, frustration starting to fray a little bit across his face as the game carries on.
Robles was not in the squad that went to Madison. Hasn't played a ton of minutes of late.
Started in the last 5 games, no goal contributions in the last 12, his longest drought with Greenville, at least in the league. Gulling, gusting to the wide side. Baker, pivoting infield for Gulling again. Sloshing around in the 18 before an end is put to it by Mo Knight. Segrist stepping in. Nothing in it though. Both players arriving to the ball at the same time. Chapa Herrera. And fighting the contact and winning a prime real estate free kick for Greenville. I think the referee sensed that after the last indiscretion he had to, with the amount of contact happening there, draw the line somewhere. Not sure if in isolation that would have been called a foul though. As Greenville will reassess the framing of things. This will be our upstate spine and sport adjustment of the match. It will be Devin Boyce.
Interesting one.
Brought on for Camito Fritz. So an attacking-minded midfielder for a fullback when you're in siege mode. Does this mean Connor Evans drops back to right back?
Evan Lee can play some right back too. Love to see, certainly you would think it would mean going to a back four. As you can see, Boise moving people around here.
Back post ball, brushing off the shoulder of Zane Bob. It stayed on the side, and there's Devin Boyce linking things. Mubanora rising up the pitch and recovering it for Greenville. Helped along Devin Boyce and dashed out over the end line for what should be a corner.
And you see a substitution like that as a player, I think also you think, okay, we're going to go for this. We'll look for that key second goal rather than trying to sit back and hold on.
Staging up for Greenville to put some distance potentially between themselves and the sitting crown where one Knoxville. They have to have a game to leave some life in this League One season. Slashing in, gets over Skelton and nearly gets ducked home at the back post. It was Potty who was perusing in the gallery.
I always say, make that back post run. You never know if it's going to come to you. Patty here just didn't quite anticipate the ball bouncing to him. Would have been a very difficult finish with the way it bounced up against him. Or into him, I should say. Now Patty back to his feet.
Again, Greenville are mighty short for center backs. Daniel Wu has only played a handful of times in the league. Zane Bub already nursing a knock, and now Patti on the jog to get back into his defensive position.
Devin Boyce going to play very centrally. He's behind Liadi.
Connor Evans will remain in the midfield. Does look like Mubanora has moved to right wing back.
Yeah, Dave Dixon did mention this week that he was thinking about starting him there at wing back. That's where he started the first couple of games since moving to Greenville, and then Dixon moved him further up to great effect now.
Baker, wide of him is Rosamilia. Rocking and rolling into the dangerous spaces. Baker, and just moved away by Anthony Patti. Knock or no knock. He's able to nudge it back. Skelton making up his mind. Electing to pick out Will Perkins. Another flapping effort from one Knoxville in the face of goal and out for what will be a throw.
Players are lining up in blue to get on the end of that cross. As Perkins takes an accidental shot to the head.
Helped up by the center official, Jorge Escobar. Throw-in does belong to the Tennesseans. Perkins pedaling along to Teddy Baker. Ball just tethered to him until it wasn't, and that's because Connor Evans cut in. Zadliati rushing and rumbling, and it's going to be a yellow card to Teddy Baker. Clear as day. He's trying to drag back Zadliati like a parachute. Liati wasn't having it, but eventually the referee left no choice.
It was like he was running with a parachute on his back like they do in training. I think Baker was asking for the response from Liati. He was to be a little careful there on the ground, slightly lashed out at him.
The caution is presented by Mountain Creek Kitchen and Bath, occurring in the 69th minute. Not the nicest of exchanges there between Teddy Baker and Azad Liati. Of course, Liati has been booked on a fair few occasions this year. And Knoxville earning Denny Fernandez for the right occasion. So Greenville trying to shut up shop. Have brought on an extra attacking mid and pushed one of their wingers to fullback. And on the other side, as one Knox try and chase this, they take off a fullback and put a center back on at fullback.
Interesting. Yeah, Danny Hernandez can play a bit of fullback himself.
Certainly not questioning Ian Fuller there.
No, but again, got Wednesday to think about as well.
It's a great point. He has been much more accustomed to these substitute cameos lately, Danny Fernandez. And with the club since the outset, only one start in the last 11 league matches, but the team's leader in substitute appearances now with 12. And he is athletic enough to get up and down the line and Spanish enough to offer the technical quality that a fullback requires. I believe something like 7 career goals for him, with one Knoxville in the league. Jabbing in with a punchy tackle is Patrick Segrist.
He's played well tonight. Patrick Segrist at that left wing back spot. Actually dealing with a bit of a knock recently.
It was his own goal that would prove to be the winner for one Knox in the prior occasion between the two sides. Does seem like he's had the bit between his teeth with a little bit of a personal grudge. Fernandez. Flushing into the final third. A dummy away, a knock on, and Zane Bob. Just as it looks like one Knox are starting to spin up with some aggression, Greenville have picked their moments to interlude and get rid of the danger. Goaling. They'll have to do it again, and they do. Patti blocks it out. Corner kick. It's Teddy Baker. Teed up. 1-0. Outswinger. Not landing in the right location, but regathered by Nico Rosamilia. Caputo recycled for Baker. Finn McRobb. Donovan Williams. Williams not in close enough. Chorus with Rosamilia. And it's uncovered by Devin Boyce. Given right back. Babacar Diane cutting in on the right foot and rifled wide. Nervous, tense, still 1-0.
That one wasn't far wide. Devin Boyce did a good job of the turnover, and then Greenville turned it right back over to Knoxville in a much more dangerous area. Dan couldn't take advantage.
Don't miss your chance to rep the Greenville Triumph with our latest merchandise. Head to www.shopgreenvilletriumph.com. Gear up with the latest official merch, from kits and scarves and hats and more. Whether you're cheering in the stands or watching at home, show everyone who you support. Get your merch today and wear your green with pride. I mean, Greenville fans are sweating this one out, to say the least. Hopefully they've not sweated through their attire enough to require a visit to the team shop, but it's always encouraged. Attaching himself is Connor Evans. Well, Knoxville have been a little bit more lifeless in this half on the attacking endeavors than they were in the first frame. Greenville have taken the bite out of them.
Only 2 shots for Knoxville in the second half, despite being down for most of it. 0.03 XG.
Has there been anything tactical that you've observed from either team that would be responsible for that?
No, I think Greenville just done a good job of soaking up the pressure early and got that goal at such an opportune time. Maybe just sat back a little deeper, but Knoxville really haven't had much to do in the final third. Here's Danny Fernandez. Excuse me, Danny.
You had it right.
Danny Hernandez. Second guess myself for a second.
Always believe in yourself, Ross. I do. Jordan Skelton. He certainly does. All-leaguer last 2 years for one Knox. And with Ross Davenport, as always, I'm Peyton Gallagher. And this is the USL League One. And this is Rosamilia for one Knoxville. Well shaped into Teddy Baker. For the first time tonight, he fails to tame it.
The ball bouncing away off a foot slipping. It just hasn't been Knoxville's night on this turf here, Chief over Park.
DN over his head, maybe about 6 inches in its trajectory, overcooked. Fernandez will get a second window and picks out Baker well. Saved off the line. Amal Knight, a strong paw. It's still on for one Knox. Now it's not. Muminor dragged back, certain yellow card. He is a blur in those moments.
Yeah, Will Perkins doesn't want to get in a foot race with that man. After seeing what he did to his center back earlier. And the best yellow cards you'll see from Will Perkins. There's the chance here of All Night at the front post. Oh, it's a little too casual from Teddy Baker. It was a good hand in there. Chenkov was waiting to pounce in there. Here's that yellow card on Perkins. Devin Boyce was off to the races too. Good professional foul by a professional left back. Or right back, depending where he's playing.
Caution presented by Mountain Creek Kitchen and Bath. Donovan Williams being shown the yellow.
Oh, excuse me, it was Williams, yes. No, Will and Williams getting mixed up.
Michael Hoffman out of touch for a throw. Can watch the match turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source. Engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights. Let's hear live matches from the USL, MLS Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157, the Sirius XM app. I'm sure Devin and Mike will have things to say about the transactions happening in the USL Championship, a chopping challenge that comes into no avail from the referee. Fernandez shuffling in, goaling, retracing his steps for Teddy Baker to have a blow, and it's blocked. Another block in a series of them for the triumph, and there is a body that's taking.
It's Chaparrera down, gas from chasing back there. Once again, Greenville just doing a great job of getting bodies in the 18. Of course, with no Ivan Ajakwa, no real defensive midfield back up on the bench for Greenville, so Chapa likely going to have to go the rest of the way.
Knoxville have made their final change of the night. John Murphy coming on.
Straight like-for-like swap there at defensive midfield for Abel Caputo. Some fresh legs.
He's on the ball and pressing in uncomfortable places for Greenville. Zavliati dropping all the way in to protect his own 18. He's maybe done more protecting his own goal than threatening the other one today.
Done a great job defensively.
All night, taking as much attention out of the tie as he can before booming it away toward the corner. Greenville scored early on in the second half by way of Muminor. Who else? Assisted by William Akiel. Knoxville have been one of the best road teams in the league this year. 17 points, only trailing Union Omaha in that regard. Came into today with a +7 goal differential. The most in the league by 5. Only 3 teams in the league are plus in that category, and Greenville understanding the assignment at hand, knowing that they have to protect home field because nobody in the league, quite frankly, has had much joy away from their own confines. It has to be 3 points today. They're getting oh so close.
Yeah, they've been helped by the fact that many of the teams above them, between them and the playoff line, have not been winning games either. So they've been hanging around. Looking at some results tonight, Fort Wayne are in 9th at the moment. They're tied 1-1 with Chattanooga. Westchester obviously with a big win earlier today over at Naples, 3-2. That didn't help Greenville's cause, but they are tied with them right now with 22 points, 7 points behind Chattanooga.
Seagrass taking his time to arrive at the corner flag. Of course, this sets up a mammoth occasion between one Knoxville and AC Boise coming up next Saturday. Those two teams right next to each other in the table and fighting for the home playoff places. If the result holds, that is. Seagrass stung straight into the center of the mix. It's bobbled. Gainbridge lost it, but so is Zavliati in the lurch.
Seemed like it was going to be a comfortable claim for Garibay initially.
It's still on. Bob can't get it out from underneath him, and the referee has brought the physio on straight away. Two players swinging their leg at it in tandem, and it is this close for Greenville.
Garibay is his own teammate he landed on, Hernandez. Luckily for Knoxville, it didn't fall at the feet of the player in green until it got to Liadi.
Shuffled along, Kuchenkov. Resting bit of defending from Evan Lee, but it's a corner kick to come.
10 minutes or so plus stoppage time left in this one. Greenville looking for that second goal. Play some more defense here.
Excruciating feels like a appropriate pretensing term for what Greenville are embarking towards. Over a Mole Knight and gliding out. Greenville getting some flashbacks of that mishap against Madison. USL Championship and League One on the CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN Plus on USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com. The complete USL TV listings. Again, that big one coming up between Richmond and Union Omaha on the CBS Sports Network, and this league spotlighted in a way that it's never been on the national stage all year long, and especially in these next couple of months.
Certainly plenty of eyes on that one, especially at the top of the table. Wins of 4 of the last 5. Richmond themselves, they'll have won 2 in a row.
A couple of the new young bright thinkers in the league between Vincenzo Candela and Brian Ownby, who's the caretaker for Richmond. And yes, it is that Brian Ownby. Danny Fernandez with a thump was traveling into the heart of the area. Cutting away is Donovan Williams. He's done quite well there and fizzed off mark. Again, it's just Knoxville not having what they need in that final action.
Yeah, wasted chance there from Kuchenkov. All he had to do was smash it to cross goal. Instead, tried to go for glory himself and ended up shanking it wide. Breathe a sigh of relief.
Off the head of William Accio, whose burst of ambition and effort at this point, despite the fact that Mubanora is the one who signed for the package at the doorstep. That is the difference in this game. William Accio being that point himself. Chattanooga have come from behind against Fort Wayne. That's 2-1 there.
Yeah, massive road win. Scott McKenzie's boys, if they can pull that one off. Fort Wayne had the lead for most of that game.
Twirling into the box. Fernandez has a whack and wails it high.
Well, interestingly, the referee appeared like he was giving an advantage. Seemed to be a foul.
If there was an advantage, it would have likely been a penalty.
Let's see what happened here. Babacar Dean went to get it first. It was certainly a bit of a clumsy contact from Boyce, and if you watch, you couldn't see Escobar just out of shot there. He put his hand up as though he was playing advantage, but you know, Knoxville would have taken the penalty rather than that pot shot from Fernandez from way out. Grayson Mercer with the go-ahead goal for Chattanooga, but yeah, it's an interesting one.
You're the one with the officiating background between the two of us. Can advantage be played in the instance of a potential penalty?
It can be, but it's got to be a probable goal, basically. That one certainly wasn't there. I'm not sure that decision from Escobar.
Nonetheless, there is no assisted video refereeing in this league, although they are trying it out in the Brinks Cup. Rainbow down to Azad Liadi. Is he up to his regular late game mischief? Liadi, unbothered. Tries the back heel, and it is ultimately met by Danny Fernandez. Out for a throw. A change is on the cards for Dave Dixon. He has had a shorthanded bench, but does sense that this moment requires a little bit of reinforcement in the form of Rodrigo Robles.
fresh legs on. I mentioned fresh, he hasn't played a ton of lately. Rodrigo Robles. Come on for Akio.
Made his USL League One debut against One Knox back in 2024. Rodrigo Robles. He'll rise now in a moment that requires doing for Greenville. He'll rise in the box almost instantly. Devin Boyce! It slaps against the gloves of a wrong-footed Johan Garibay, and it's out for a corner. Didn't look like he saw that until it was right on him.
Yeah, it wasn't hit particularly well from Boyce and Garibay. I think quick enough feet to get over there and keep that from going out for a corner. We'll see if that mistake costs him.
These corner kicks have been nerve-shredding for One Knox all night long. As Garibay is sucking in oxygen. In goal is Greenville sharpening the blade again. Specifically Connor Evans. Right at the finish line. Flashing short, Robles. Picking out Segrist. It's been looped in, and it's Assad Liadi, but it's going to be wiped off. I think for a foul, jumping over the back to win it.
Escobar had his hand up as though it was an indirect free kick. So I wonder if there was a hint of offside, perhaps. Liadi just timed his run. It was a lovely looping header, though. Back across goal. Nothing Garibay could do.
We'll take a look whenever the game permits. A moment of controversy and intrigue. It is officially deemed offside.
Wow.
Linesman was right there on that side for what it's worth.
If that is the case, that's just a mistake from Assad Liadi. There's no need. In an offside position, he had time to get back onside. It was a looping cross. So it wasn't like he had any advantage for being offside really on that one.
Murphy marauding in behind again. Kruchenkov just can't get it in. And here is a look back. You be the judge, Ross.
Liadi. Oh yeah, perhaps he was. Yeah, it's just clumsy from him. He didn't need to be offside at all. He just a little lazy getting back behind that last defender, and that's cost Greenville dearly. Well, we'll see if it costs Greenville dearly, I guess. That would have been a crucial second goal for the home team.
Credit to the referee for making a decisive decision and not allowing the invitation of Greenville thinking that they had gone and won it there. Always makes it harder to walk it back when you're disallowing a goal like that. Mubanor just come up right behind Goulding, who hadn't checked his rearview mirror. Was given right back and prodded away. These are the small moments and the bounces that haven't gone Greenville's way all year long. They're keeping these focus moments in focus and winning the day there.
This wouldn't just be a huge 3 points just for the 3 points. It would have been a huge 3 points because of the way they've played in this second half. They've gone after that second goal. They thought they'd found it there. They haven't just sat back and tried to hold on.
McRobb splits a line. Baker swashbuckling away as Fernandez. Got room to cross if he wants. Patti puts himself in the way. Rosamilia. Once more, it's Patti who meets it. And away. Not all the way away, though. Did it hit the referee?
Not sure if it did. It was just a shanked clearance from Chapo Herrera. Now the ref's getting in the way. It's going to be a drop ball for Knoxville, though. Didn't have it last.
60 seconds on 90 minutes. That in stoppage time. Greenville a goal to the good. Fernandez takes a harsh hit and comes down. Donovan Williams. Mubanor contesting. Tighten the angle enough to turn the cross out over the end line. Goal kick.
Tight Greenville legs out there. Anthony Patti, hands on knees. It's been a heroic performance by this back three without their captain, Brandon Fricke, tonight. Patti, Lee, and Bob done everything they could do to try and pull out this clean sheet. It's been a while since they've had a clean sheet. A massive 3 points if they can hold on here. Certainly going to see, I would think, at least 3 or 4 minutes of stoppage.
What does the board say? An auguring of what is to come. 5 minutes. Enough for Knoxville to think that they can get something still. Greenville, enchanted by the performance that they've already put on, need to go 5 minutes further. It's gifted to Connor Evans, or rather that's Segrist. Robles rambling beyond the tackle of Fernandez. He takes it upon himself. Rodrigo Robles blocks. Garibay false starts at it. Running it down at the edge of his own area. Greenville stepping high to engage the ball. It's probably smart from Leotti, but he is already skating on thin ice.
Gotta be careful there.
That was Harry. Greenville will make one final change. It will be Daniel Wu. This is a little bit of a dice roll. Last change that Greenville can make here, importantly. So if there is an injury the rest of the way, it will be down to 10 men for Greenville as Wu comes up in a big stage for Connor Evans and will play in midfield. Center back by trade. For Wu, what will be only his 4th appearance in the league all year long. Robles was dancing on the last shoulder of the last man, Fernandez. Rosamilia. Knoxville going the wrong way here. Gary Bay.
I like that substitution though. Give Wu some fresh legs in Wu.
Chapo Herrera, his legs are road weary, but he is unrelenting nonetheless and puts one across the bow. Devin Boyce, no foul coming. Herrera helped back to his feet by Azad Leotti. Knoxville march on regardless. Leotti just losing out there. Rosamilia, Fernandez creasing in. The final ball is blind.
It's poor from Fernandez.
And punctured ahead to Chapo Herrera, who hadn't gotten himself back on side.
Appreciates the ball. He was just, I think he was, I'm sure he was trying to get back on side, but Chapa's run a ton tonight. As he always does.
It's getting late. There's a Knoxville player down. Ball in! Throttled home! The Tennesseans will not take it lying down today. Nico Rosamilia at the death.
Knoxville's 11th goal in the last 15 minutes of games this season. Greenville just fell asleep, lost track of that man, and he made them pay.
Soul splitting for the Greenville triumph with massive uplifts. Nico Rosamilia.
It was a good ball in. Anthony Patti just lost track of him, as did Segrist. Perhaps the Wild Knights should have thought about coming for it. Too late now.
For the second successive game, Knoxville have maybe earned points in stoppage time against Sarasota, the 95th, in South Carolina, the 94th. And it is square at 1-1. And Knoxville still have an appetite. Zane Bob has lost the leash on it. Gets right back involved. Does it again. Greenville will not really gain much from a draw. They will launch at full gate. 3 sheets to the wind to try and get something in the next 45 seconds.
That was Knoxville's first shot on target of the second half.
Worked ahead. Devin Boyce. Azad Leotti. Boyce bravely ahead to Segrist. Leotti is struggling to get involved. Segrist will go anyway. Robles. Devin Boyce darting into the box, ahead by Donovan Williams. The knockdown, we're approaching the 95th. Patti. Referee looks at his watch. Greenville One last go and the ball is hopeless. And the game ends there. In stoppage time, Knoxville confiscate the result mercilessly from the Greenville Triumph. Here in Malden, Nico Rosamilia takes it upon himself to turn the thing on its head. And a clash comes to its close with gritted teeth all around.
Yeah, gut punch for Greenville, who really deserved the 3 points. They were the better team in this second half for sure. It was a game of two halves. Knoxville dominated the first half, couldn't find the back of the net. Greenville with the early goal in the second half, but just similar to Wednesday night when Dave Dixon said they ran out of gas in the second half, but held on. Could not hold on tonight.
So they shake on a share, a deal that nobody will come away from the table content with. Ian Fuller and his men incandescent in the end. Greenville unable to get what they need. And it's level at 1 when 90 minutes and then 5 more have finally extinguished. Post-game coverage is coming up. A game that certainly was worthy of all the acclaim and appetite. We'll break it down when we return. A confusing, conflicted game here in the Carolinas. That's narrative is reshaped, all but in the final kicks of the ball. In the late stage, Nico Rosamilia is able to completely reframe the thing. Away to Greenville Triumph, the final score, 1-1. After 95 minutes and in stoppage time, Knoxville would take the day, at least in terms of points brought home with them to Tennessee. But as we look back at the
6-yard box and nods it home for the point on the road.
And that brings it all to its thudding conclusion. 1 Knox, the grit of stellar champions to get something away from home. Where does that leave Greenville now? The rest of the season will reveal itself, but on this night, it is 1 apiece and 1 point for each team. For my partner, Ross Davenport, folks, I've been Peyton Gallagher, and this has been the USL League One. 1-1 our final. Happy trails from Malden. We'll talk to you soon.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.